Why race? Not why run, because I assume the vast majority of you watching this, if not all of you, are runners. You know why you run, but why do you race? I think it's a very fundamental question that we should ask ourselves as runners. I think if you look across the run influencer or ShoeTube space, you'll see a lot of people doing a lot of racing every weekend, traveling the world, doing all the world majors. And that's cool if that's what you're into, but that's not what I'm into. I take racing quite seriously, which shouldn't come as a surprise if you watch this channel, but I realize I've never sat down and actually articulated why I actually race, so let's change that. Something to know about me is that I'm very, very competitive. And my first sporting memories I can remember as a kid is being a real little kid and watching ski racing in the Olympics and being fascinated by the downhill, especially the pageantry of downhill, the speed of downhill, the discipline that those guys would actually have racing the downhill courses in the Olympics. I loved it. A little bit later, I found the Tour de France on TV, and I loved the pageantry of big pelotons of bike racing across France. I loved that. Those were my early sporting heroes. It wasn't, team sports and stuff that typically kids were into that I grew up around. It was these sort of racing focused sports. And as I got into my actual activities or sports, first snowboards, then skateboards, then cycling, the racing aspect of all of those really appealed to me, partly out of being competitive, but partly out of I just love the discipline of racing. And in anything that I've ever raced, and pretty much any activity that I've been involved in my life, I have found a way to race it. I have generally been at the top of the group as far as racing, fighting for victories in my class or in my field, or within my training group, really competing with them and being sort of at the top of that for getting wins. I've been very competitive with racing, but when I switched over to running, it was a bit of a mindset change, but still the competitiveness that I have for racing still burned quite bright. Because as a runner, I am not the fastest runner. Even as a master's runner in my age group, I'm still not the fastest runner. I'm not the slowest runner, but I'm also not the fastest runner. So I am never going to be competing outright for a victory in a running race. And even in my age group as a master's runner, I'm probably also not going to be competing for a victory. So running racing to me is about competing against myself. It's about going after my PRs. Now, I think I'm actually kind of lucky as a master's runner because I didn't really run competitively as a younger athlete. In my teens, 20s, 30s, even 40s, I don't have any PRs that I'm chasing from when I was younger. I'm actually currently establishing on my PRs, so I can go after my last PR in a race and do better. I can put in that work day in and day out and then show up on the line and put it all on the line and really go after that PR. And that's what I do when I race. So that's why you don't see me competing in a ton of races. If you follow this channel, you haven't seen me race in just about 2 years. My last race was the New York City Marathon in 2023, where I blew up around the 16-mile mark, or just entering onto First Avenue, which was a complete bummer because that was the section of the race in Manhattan that I was really looking forward to as a native New Yorker. But that's racing, you just never know. I did complete the race, but it wasn't a time that I'm very proud of. But that's fine, because the other thing that racing gives you as a runner is it's an education. It teaches you any number of things. That blow up that I had back in the 2023 New York City Marathon taught me about perseverance and pushing myself through the pain, through the frustration, and finishing it. I finished the race, but it wasn't the time I wanted. It wasn't even remotely close to the time that I wanted. But again, that's the beauty of racing. I was out on the line. I pushed myself to where my body basically gave out, and then I completed the race. But I completed it, and that's really what I was going after. I really pushed myself to get up on that line and finish that race. That's what I did. So to me, that was a victory, even though, again, it wasn't the time that I wanted. So after that race, which again was almost 2 years ago, I sort of stepped back from racing and just really evaluated over the past 2 years, why do I race? And I think it's come down to simply the message I'm trying to get forward in this video is, it is about a proof of work to me. all of that daily work that you put in, when you show up on a line of a race course, you're putting it right there. You're going after that PR, you're going after that win, you're going after whatever's motivating you to do that. And I think that's the beauty of racing and running. Running is so foundational that it can be whatever you want it to be. And I think that's one of the real key beauties of running. So I put this out to the community. Why do you race? What is the appeal of running, racing for you? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always fascinated by the answers and the conversation that we have down there. And I'm really curious what motivates some of you to actually get out there, get to a start line and push yourself to that finish line, because I think there's going to be a ton of different answers and I'm always fascinated by that. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you want to support what I do here, check out sagasurunning.com for our merch or click the join button below. If neither one of those options are good for you, leave a comment, leave a like, because it helps this channel continue to grow, which I always appreciate. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.